It is no longer news that Pastor Idowu visited City of David Church, one of the model parishes of the Redeemed Christian Church of God, and a lot has been going on ever since Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, the husband to Siju Iluyomade, was, like news would say, number one, he was banned from the church, like we would see a lady who came out to make church allegations, or would I say being a pastor in the church. Now, I had an issue with that when I heard that, but of course we are going to get to that part of the discussion, because I would wonder what kind of a church bans someone, a member of a church who was even a leader, from attending the church that they have pastored for over 20 years or something. So I found an issue with that particular conversation, but we are going to get to that. Another story is that he was given a 3-month suspension, after which, not being posted, of course, he felt, displeased and then left to go and start his own church. Now, if you don't know, the Iluyomades, of course, have their church right now, which is called the Family Fellowship. We discussed about them before, so I don't want to repeat a couple of things I've talked about before over here. If you're watching me for the first time, my name is George. I discuss a lot of trends that happen mostly in the church, sometimes in politics, and other social issues as well, in case you're bumping into me anywhere on social media. You're welcome. So let's get on to the main subject of today's video, and we are going to be starting by listening to Pastor Idowu. First of all, talk about one issue that was conflicting with the video I came across of this lady on Daddy Freeze's platform, where she made the allegation that Herbert Wigwe, late Herbert Wigwe, is not the one that built the church or something, that it was a collective effort of a church, contrary to what is being said on social media. We are trying to get a balance. I'll try to bring a balance in that whole issue, listening to Pastor Idowu and also contrasting with what she had to say. But first, who should we listen to first? Of course, her daddy. Let's go on, of course, to go to what Pastor Idowu said about the church. So please listen attentively, because there are some things I need to peel like an onion. So this video is going to be in 2 parts, but let's just look at the part 1 of this whole situation.
That's why when I told your pastor I will be coming, and he asked what will be the theme of my visit, I said it will be the second visit. When we paid the first visit to this edifice, we were mere tenants in this place. Many of us didn't know. But this building actually belonged to a bank. By the time we met here last, many of you can't believe how much money we owed.
So, do you understand? I remember I talked about this a year ago when this thing was trending, and I read the news from the source it came from, that looking at that building, he facilitated the loan, or would I say a major part of the construction of the building of the City of David. Do you understand? Now, if Pastor Idowu is saying that the building belonged to the bank, look at it logically. Okay, I always tell you people, spirituality without common sense is amplified stupidity. You have to understand that if that what he's saying is the truth, which I should believe what Pastor Idowu is saying, being the one that is the general overseer, then it makes sense to say that the construction of a church itself, or the building itself, came from where? The bank. And then the church as a community, because the woman of course goes on to talk about how they contributed money, funds from the church, and Pastor Iluyomade always gave them updates as to how much is remaining, how much they have paid and all that as members of a church. The church then, together as a community, have been paying off the loans gradually over time. Does it make sense? Because the picture you see right now, of course, is the first time when he talked about the first visit of dedicating the place. But this happened as a community, and probably without the influence of Herbert Wigwe, which I think should be the bank that is responsible for the building and owned, of course, by the bank, like Pastor Idowu is saying. Without his influence, probably such amount of money couldn't have been released to that particular building. Do you understand? Okay? So again, as for bringing balance to it, if she is coming to come and say that Herbert Wigwe, even though significant, but is still like every other person in the church, I don't see it to be very accurate, in my opinion, because if that was the case, then why would his death and the whole brouhaha about the whole party become so significant that the church had to, at least as the woman said, came to calm it down by suspending him, which now led to him not being part of a church anymore. But let's please go on to listen to Pastor Idowu.
The day we came to dedicate this place, we were not dedicating the building. I'm not even sure we were dedicating this. auditorium because we were owing billions of naira. I mean, practically unbelievable. Unbelievable to me when I heard. But today, by the grace of God, this building is our own.
There's something I'm going to be discussing, of course, in my next video, looking at the subject of assets and liability in the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Whether you like it or not, this particular building is an asset to the church. The pastors, of course, would be assets to the ministry. Just make sure you are in good conduct as to how the modus operandi of the ministry and your calling and what binds you, of course, as a pastor is in good accordance. If not, you would have to be let go. My next video, I'll be discussing about pastors that are no more part of the ministry and some patterns I got to observe, even though I'll hint on a little bit of it, of course, today. So indeed, that building, of course, at this point belongs to the church. He says our own. He didn't say my own. Okay? But one thing we should not lose sight of is that for the church to get to the extent for which it is as well, it had to be with the supervision of people like Idowu Iluyomade, who took over and has led the church to the point it is, even though the unfortunate incident that happened with his wife's birthday party, even though right now I'm looking at it to be like, well, let me not blame the woman anyway. Come on. The man loves his wife so much that two of us, we are in this together. I ain't got no problem with that. Two shall become one. Okay? But that's just on the side as we get to go on with the conversation. Let's go on to listen to Pastor Idowu.
Owing when we were here last time, maybe we could probably have said, maybe this auditorium might be our own. Wherever the children were, the offices, they didn't belong to us. But from the time I came to now, God has moved. Several things are going to happen in your life this morning.
Okay, so now let's go. I think the place is actually a very nice building, where the church service is situated. Let's listen to what the woman had to say, who is part of a church. And Pastor Chris, of course, me calling Daddy Freeze Pastor Chris.
You have to be careful.
Which kind of mistake is this? Forgive me. Daddy Freeze, of course, hosting her. She got to introduce herself from the beginning of the video. And at this particular point is where she talks about Iluyomade as a person, the church, and the building, of course, which is now a discussion. Now, I don't know why this interview itself is necessary, but I think it's just to correct the narrative in their opinion as to what they believe as the quote and unquote, probably the family fellowship community of Iluyomade, a schism of the main church, I would say. Those we talked about this before. Those who are sharing in the pain of the Iluyomade and family standing together, a group of which she belongs to. But if you remember in my previous video, I asked you people one question. The comment was so scanty on that. Would you call Iluyomade's schism from the church rebellion? Maybe that's why the comment was a bit scanty on that, because if people are very good at either throwing those words at me or using it when you feel that the bigger person, the GO in a conversation, or someone that is bigger in a conversation is being questioned or something, you see the other person to be rebellious. But now these are people that are church leaders, or would I say, older people. And I couldn't see comments on that. But I think why that was scanty is because of what she's saying. Now, these are some stories that came out about his schism from the church. One was that he was given a 3-month suspension and asked to be worshipping at a Butemeta as, would I say, his punishment. And while he was on that suspension, he decided to leave. Okay? And these are news, of course, on Vanguard, Punch, and even People's Gazette. Another news, of course, is saying that while he wanted to leave, they didn't want him to just leave like that, being the fact that someone of his cadre would not just, leave that way. Okay? Now, she comes out to say that he served his suspension duly, but was banned from the church. Now, I don't know what kind of church does that. I think I just said that a while ago. I don't know what kind of church bans someone from worshiping in their church. If it's rusticating someone being in leadership, example like this story of a pastor who was rusticated, or would I say excommunicated from the ministry as a pastor, I would say, for trying to, fire down with a a lady, a member of a church, you know. So I would say that the church itself has disciplinary actions when things don't go according to their rule book. You know, Redeemed Christian Church of God is not like how the Winners Chapel is with respect to what we have discussed recently about them having their, you know, their handbook or their mandate and rules of a church as to how they get to operate and all that. So for Redeemed Christian Church of God, it's a little bit more inner caucus something, you know. So, and when it comes to church politics, it's something very deep that you don't want to start talking about it today. It's something very, very deep. But that is just on the side. Let's listen to her as she gets to talk about Iluyomade and the building. But one thing I think is most important for you to note if you watch this video yourself from the Defreetis platform is the idea that she is just there to, number one, of course, give that positive PR of the person of Idowu Iluyomade, which I think is quite important, at least her being part of that fold. I wasn't able to really understand where she actually belongs, RCCG or Idowu's fellowship, because if you are belonging to Idowu's fellowship, I think he's now supposed to be your daddy, except you are one leg here, and probably tomorrow you find yourself in City of David worshiping there. Because I asked people this question, in this particular situation, where would your loyalty be as someone that is a member of a church? Would your loyalty be to the general overseer of a church, or like the brand of a church, or to your pastor who probably has left the church to start his own? Again, as well, depending on your personal opinion, would define where your allegiance ties to. So for her, I couldn't really place my hands on that. But one thing she asked as well towards the end of the video was asking for forgiveness from the pastor Adeboye for the person of Idowu Iluyomade. And I was just wondering, what is the essence of the forgiveness? Was there really a rift? Is Pastor Adeboye having a grudge against him? It will make sense as we get on with the video because of something that Pastor Adeboye says in the same video that I tried to make a correlation of. But it's going to make a whole lot of sense when we get there. Let's listen to Madam.
Herbert Wigwe did not build Trinity Tower alone. All of us in City of David contributed. As much as he also contributed, all of us also contributed to build Trinity Tower together. Some people gave more than the others.
Was he the highest giver?
For that one, I don't think so.
Oh.
I don't think so, but he also gave money. He also gave money. We have to, now we cannot lie against him. He also gave money, just like we also gave money. Some people even gave more than me. Sure, you understand? And this runs into so many amount of money. Some people, when they started reading that news that Pastor Herbert Wigwe was the one that built Trinity Tower, some people were annoyed of the donors. They left the church, even when Pastor Eddie was still there. That what is the meaning of this? Why would they say Herbert Wigwe was the highest donor when not me, that those people donated so amount?
Those that left the church, where did they leave and go? That news only came out after he died, and people were talking about that now. One check up now, and I need to check home with this thing. So when, if they left the church, where would they leave to? That means they followed Pastor Idowu Iluyomade now, if that was the situation. Do you get it? Because that notion that he built the church would come, that his influence brought the money that built the church. Do you understand? But while you people now moved in there and were worshiping there, then you started paying back, donating to pay back. Because Pastor Adeboye himself said that the church belonged to the bank. It's not as if you people came together, contributed, and then built that particular facility. Then it would never have belonged to the bank in any way. Because if you came together, this one bring 1 naira, 2 naira, 3 naira, 4 naira. We put it together and then we build this place. Then how does it belong to the bank? That means loan was gotten from the bank with the help of Herbert Wigwe for the construction of the place, and then knowing that, of course, with his influence, that the money will be paid back. And that was the news, of course. I read it myself here, and that makes logical sense if you want to think about it. And then gradually, as well, as we are coming to church and then people are raising money, maybe there's a fund to that money, of course, got paid back. So yes, she makes sense there with respect to the fact that it was everybody's contribution. Even Herbert Wigwe himself would also be contributing himself, of course, as a member of a church. Like she mentions, of course, here that he was a pastor. I don't know if it makes sense. So I'm just bringing that balance over here, but let's continue.
I mean, they got upset.
And as an elder, you were privy to
Oh
this
yes, I
information.
was inside hearing this. It's not a matter of hearsay. As an elder, I was inside the thing. And then not only did Pastor Idowu Iluyomade did all this, he made us to donate money to build house, school for Makoko, free of charge. They are still there, and feeding them, buying school bags, buying this for them. And Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, we normally contribute money to feed 5,000 poor people every Sunday. He created a soup kitchen. 5,000 people every Sunday. We always there's an offering for that. And then he did a lot of welfare. He even built house for Pastor Esco's wife in Parkview. Very beautiful house. So that for humanity, I mean, Pastor Esco was our pastor. He not of his own volition must we abandon his wife because headquarters was not even coming to do anything. So he did.
Oh, so the headquarters didn't really do anything for Pastor Esco's wife, Mom?
I don't know, but this is what we did.
Daddy Freeze. That man is doing a good job. One thing I've observed as to how the Redeemed Christian Church of God works, please correct me in the comment. That's why we have an open comment here for you to talk. Even though after some days, of course, we get to lock it for late comments. But you have to understand that I think, because I've been in the system before, so the churches are supposed to be independent, putting the bills of or would I say feeding the central, instead of being tied to the headquarters, from what I understand. But you can correct me if I'm wrong. So I think, of course, many of the projects that they did independently, of course, as a church community, under the supervision of Idowu himself, Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, is quite commendable. That was what I saw emphasized over here in this whole conversation. But you get the point of what she's making. And let me just keep to where she now talks about her main situation as to, what she's expecting.
Putting it there on behalf of Pastor Adeboye and Pastor Folu Adeboye, I'm here to give you this. And he did a lot of CSR.
That's CSR. That was his actual main responsibility. We talked about this before last when this whole thing was trending. He was one in charge of the corporate social responsibility of the church. So indeed, of course, him doing that in the name of the church is part of his core responsibility. And fantastically, I would say he was a good leader, at least doing his job diligently, of course, in the name of the church. That is, CSR is more like giving the church a good PR. So indeed, he paid his dues. That is why probably they will be feeling that he was treated unfairly. But you see, if you have to understand the ministry business, whether I call it my father's business, in the Bible, or you call it business, or what business itself is, it's an image thing. The image of the general overseer is paramount. The image of a church is unquestionable. So anything that affects that image, you are a liability when either you are going or something has to be done to as well to kind of like social engineer the whole attention on that particular issue. Do you understand? No worry, later I'll look at pastors who are no more in the ministry and a couple of things in our next video. I don't want to go deep into that. But that is something you have to understand. Like I've always told you, my audience, if you just got here, hello, how are you doing? Attention is currency. When something is messing with the attention the brand has or the ministry has, Jesus is the only brand if you check. But anyway, let's just look at what it should be socially. When the attention is coming in disrepute, everything has to be done to protect that particular image. So the image of a church, note this as well if you're watching me and you're a pastor of a particular ministry. Make sure you comport yourself according to the church's organogram. If you mess up, the church can fire you, like people that were fired in one other church, like people that were fired in Winners, of course, for not being productive. You understand? But of course, you cannot fire the GO. That's also something you have to understand. The GO cannot be. So GOs can become the autocrat, of course, the ones that apostles over the mission to decide what happens to anybody except to themselves. Okay? So make sure, of course, you are respecting the organogram of the ministry you're part of. Whatever they say you do, because indeed, you are not the one that calls the shot, no matter how long you have served. There might be some leniency for you, but again, the church itself comes first. The image of the church. Very, very important. Don't even go into the image of the pastor, because even this video itself right now, in a way, even though I saw her, daddy, 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 our daddy, that God tell him this, our daddy, still trying to maintain that image of the pastor. But if the news is coming that he was banned, which we are going to get into, then of course he still paints a wrong image for the church in a way, or maybe for Pastor Adeboye, which is going to be a bit counterproductive. But of course, Pastor Idowu himself is already running his own thing. So I was now wondering to myself, what would be the essence of this? I'm just being honest as well. Facts, no sentiments. But let's go on.
For the entire Redeem was Idowu Iluyomade that was doing CSR for the entire Redeem. And Pastor Adeboye and Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, they are like father and son. Oh, they know themselves. Do you understand?
And just for me to corroborate this as well, let me play the part where Pastor Adeboye talks about the old Apapa family before he changed the name, of course, to the Favored family. And then it's going to make sense with what she's saying as well, because she was part of that old Apapa family. Even though now, Madam, can you say that you are in the Apapa family now, or are you part of the Favored family that has been changed now? Because you people can still maintain old Apapa family, or maintain Apapa family as a name, but it has been changed now to the Favored family because of this schism that probably has happened, which you are going to understand the correlation of what I'm saying here in this video. So let's go back to Pastor Adeboye, okay? If you are enjoying the analysis at this point, just type in the comment, Jesus is Lord, okay? On this platform, if you like, your papa is, I don't care. One day we face the fact, only Jesus is Lord here. Okay, you get to the point now. So type it in the comment. Let's confuse some people who will be wondering, why are they typing Jesus is Lord? Are we doing prayer seminar here? Let's get on as well to that part, okay?
Ask the scientists, they will tell you salt is a fertilizer, it's a major. The original Papa family was completely committed to spoiling the general overseer. That's the only way I can put it. Christmas came, they visited me at the camp. Daddy, we want to give you a Christmas present. Okay, thank you very much. What is it you want to do? We want to rock your house from wall to wall. If you know my house then, it was just the concrete of the floor. Thank you. And they did. Then came New Year. That day we want to give you a New Year present. You just gave me one. And they bought me a Mercedes-Benz car, Tokumbo, Mercedes 500. Thank you. Some not too long after that, Daddy, you are working so hard. You need a holiday. The best holiday we will arrange an holiday for you. You go on a cruise. I've never been inside a boat before. They organized the original cruise. Then, from that time onward, they said, every year you must go on holidays. We will pay for it. Thank you. Do you know, as far back as 23 years ago, the Apapa family bought me a brand new Rolls Royce. You find it difficult to believe. That's true. You say, where's the Rolls Royce? I used it for about 3 years and then I sold it. Because I needed money in the ministry.
Now, that aspect of him selling the Rolls Royce, it makes sense, because even Tunde Bakari said this sometime in an interview about Pastor Adeboye that makes him hold him to a high esteem.
But let me tell you this. One of the things I will never forget about Pastor Adeboye, when the chamber started and I began to do so well, a time came when we needed to expand. Do you know what he did? He brought the only document of the only house he owned on earth in Elisha, and he gave it to me to take it to the bank to borrow money to do my expansion. Now, I did not use it. I did not borrow money with that document, but I kept it with myself. Amazingly, I was shocked that any man on earth who is not my blood relation could do that to me. I will never forget his kindness. And in case you don't know, the first house I ever built in my life, I built on that campground. Do you understand me? A tremendous man of love and man of faith, but still a man, just like me. What led to my exit from Redeem?
So indeed, it's something he can do. So I would say he's really sold out, at least at that time, of course, sold out to the growth of the ministry, to what it is right now, of course, RCCG. worldwide, I would say. But you have to know something. The first model parish, of which the city of David also is part of, was led by Tunde Bakare. And there's a bit of a conflicting situation as to if it was his idea or if it was Tunde Bakare's idea for the first model parish. Just to give you a bit of a hint, Esco, Tony Rapu, Itwa Igadalo were assisting pastors of Pastor Tunde Bakare when he was pastoring the first model church, the Ikeja family, which had to be changed to the firstborn family. He talks about it here but doesn't really hint on it directly. We'll get to that particular point. Tony Rapo is no more there, even though he's a great guy and still has a good relationship, of course, with Pastor Adeboye. Wonderful man. Look at me calling my fathers guys. Aye, God, George. He's a great man. Forgive me if you are watching this video, okay? But at least you are Gayoyo, the way I see you. Even though you are older, but you are a young man in my eyes.
You have to be careful.
Pastor Esco, may the Lord bless his soul. Itwa Igadalo, of course, very amazing man. Even though the circumstances for which he was, would I say, excommunicated from the ministry or asked to leave the ministry was a bit uncalled for, I would say. But I'll discuss about that in detail in my next video. He still celebrates Pastor Adeboye. That is something wonderful.
Before you sit down, let's just spend a second in prayer for Pastor E.A. Adeboye. Today is his 83rd birthday. Let us ask that the Lord Almighty will continue to bless him, his wife, his children, his grandchildren, the Redeemed Christian Church of God that he presides over, and the body of Christ. That God will give him strength, God will renew his youth, he will finish well, finish strong, and all will be well with him. In the name of Jesus Christ. Thank you, precious Father. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Pastor Adeboye, we wish you a very happy birthday. Amen.
His birthday. So you get the point of what I'm saying. At this point, I will say this. If you used to be part of a ministry and you are no more part of that ministry, no matter what was the ground that made you to leave that ministry or not, no matter what was the ground that made you leave the ministry, one thing is important. There should be no bitterness in your heart. Even if that ministry is totally false, even if your GO was a charlatan and you were even part of the charlatanism yourself, for you to have eaten from that system or in any way that system added something to your person, one thing is very important. There should be no bitterness in your heart, because that would tell a long way how far you go. I'm telling you, it's a principle. I don't want to go into what it means or something, but if I want to go into, African proverbs, you understand what I'm saying, but I have to just explain it this way. Let's go on as he talks about the Apapa family.
And on and on and on. But it wasn't the issue of giving and receiving that really made Apapa the old one so special, because when it comes to giving and receiving, because they were so close to my heart, Apapa wasn't just a congregation. They were ready to give, and I was ready to give, I also. But they ran with my vision. All I needed to do is let them know, I want to do something, and they will grab it from me and run. The first major program we had in Lagos was at TBS, a program entitled The Battle of Gods. The older ones say, I know what I'm talking about. At the moment I said I want to do something, they say, okay, sir. All the details about getting permission, about Apapa family did it all. The first Holy Ghost service we had in Abuja, they did it all. The first Holy Ghost service we had in Port Harcourt, they did it all.
These older Papa families, it's not as if that just it's still the same community that will still be here, or maybe the same community that transitioned, of course, to following Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, of course, because the woman we saw is part of the, that generation of people that joined in the 90s, just so you understand.
The first Holy Ghost service we had.
Oh, wow. Even the Wigwes as well were here.
The first.
So even the Wigwes, of course, were around. That should be Herbert Wigwe's father. there. Now, some of you have heard about the whole rift that is happening in the family about the properties and all. The drama is kind of like deep, but hopefully they get to resolve it.
Holy Ghost service we had in London, which they call Festival of Life till today. They did it all. And up to today, Festival of Life in London is still run by the old Apapa family. And will you believe it? You have heard of Lekki 98. Apapa organized it for me. They couldn't finance it because it was something so big. I raised the money, but they organized it. Everything, including getting the stage ready. The night before, because I wanted to be on the ground very early in the morning. The night before, I spent in Adesanya's house. They organized it all. If I talk of the old Apapa, the new Apapa is great too, but we need a new cruise. I had prayed before I came here this morning. I had prayed that the Almighty God will give me the grace not to cry, because I knew the old. I'm grateful for the new, but there is a lot of difference, which is why God asked me to come. There are many families in the Redeemed Christian Church.
Now, what is about to say right now would point you to really understand the idea, because as he's going to be talking about the first model church, or would I say parish they had, and the schism that happened at that time, you look at that, of course, in the light of, because if you don't understand how the mind itself works chronologically in conversations, those two situations are not isolated because of the principle that led to changing the name of the first and then the second. Don't complain that I'm trying to guide your mind in what to think while you're listening. That's why it's an analysis, okay? It's left for you to believe what I'm saying or not, but listen.
The first model parish is Ikeja. Started very well. In less than 1 year, we had a congregation of 1,000 people. In those days, it was a miracle. And then something happened, and a congregation of 1,000 was reduced to 15 in 1 day because somebody decided to do something.
This particular situation was the whole Tinder Bakari situation of him leaving. I think that was around April. Wow, we are even in April right now, of course, talking about this. But I'll look into this, of course, later, okay? But of course, they are good friends. It's not as if they are enemies or something, but let's go on.
And I cried to God, what have I done wrong? What do I do now? And he asked me to do something. He told me Ikeja has something to do, the name has something to do with a little bit of fighting. You know, God knows all your history. And he asked me to change the name of Ikeja to Firstborn Family, which I did. And today, all over the world, there is Firstborn Family behaving like firstborn. The Lord has sent me here this morning to change your name.
So, makes sense. Name change after someone left, and now name changing, of course, after. So, if I'm looking at the same chronological order here, I would assume that if I'm seeing the same principle happening, that Pastor Idowu Iluyomade left on his own, not as if the church rusticated him and told him, don't come here again, don't be part of us. But tomorrow, if I get to see a letter released by him, of course, or something that says that, okay, the church wrote to me and told me, don't come to our church again, or you're not going to be posted to anywhere again, or stop coming to Redeem, you are banned from entering the Redeem church or something, like what the woman said, which I'm going to play for you so you don't think I'm the one making this thing up, then of course I would get to take that as a fact. But I'll look at this as well in that chronology of thought to be that he left and then the name also has to be changed. Do you understand?
From now on, you will no longer be called a Apapa family. You will be called the favored family.
I bet. Okay, let me go on as well.
When you go out, you shall be favored. When you come in, you shall be favored. In everything you do, you shall find favor. Your children will find favor. Those who love you will find favor. In every facet of life, you shall be favored.
Wow, that is pearls. For those who don't know, what you see here she's wearing is my trade. Okay, I deal on pearls. So when I say pearls, I look at it twice. Okay, so let's get on to the woman, of course, as she gets to speak. Also, so you get the point, of course, from his angle, the reason for the changing of name. So let's listen to Madame again as she...
Herbert Wigwe.
Herbert Wigwe. Before I go into that, City of David was the highest title to headquarters.
Oh, we heard that, but we thought that was just rumors.
These are rumors, though. So Idowu Iluyomade was doing so many things in the name of Redeem by Pastor Adeboye, his father. And then we were following him to continue with their vision for God. You understand? Pastor ID made, I don't even know, all the CSR for the entire RCCG.
Wow.
He made a lot of money. Every CSR for and it's not for Redeem. It's not that he will single-handedly go and bring it. He will come to his members. This is what we want to do. Oh yeah, if you are interested, can you sow? If you sow, you will reap. So with our happiness, we were sowing. We were not complaining, and God was blessing us. Which one will I mention that that Pastor Adeboye and his team, that Idowu Iluyomade is the one that is organizing, that he will even come to us. Our daddy wants to go to Israel. We will donate. We're happily donating. We will give the money with happiness, and God was blessing us. I won't lie. There was no decrease in our pulse, because we are doing it for humanity. We are doing it with all our mind, with sincerity. We were doing it believing it was for Jesus. We did not know when this one, how they got to where they are, because they were very close.
I don't understand. You were doing it believing it was for Jesus. It was for Jesus before. It's for the church. It's for the community, of course, for Jesus. People can have issues and they disagree. The schisms we have had in church up till now, how did it start? Disagreement, maybe different in doctrine, different, but let's go on.
Anything Pastor Adeboye wanted, he will call Idowu Iluyomade. Idowu Iluyomade will call his members and will obey. Is it bad day that Pastor Adeboye wants to do bad day? If we have to buy a car, we have to buy it, money. And
so the car, the Rolls Royce, you heard, of course, something like that, okay?
We are doing it with happiness. Pastor, I don't even know what to even say more.
So the like I said as well here, the aim of this whole video was the whole, just that wonderful PR for Iluyomade, based on facts, of course, which you heard Pastor Adeboye, of course, discuss about.
You can ask anybody, but our daddy, Pastor Adeboye, they have told the father and the mother that his son did not own Trinity Tower.
Oh wow! So Pastor Adeboye made this announcement.
He said his son did not build the Trinity Tower. Can't you not see the picture of my daddy, our daddy, in the Trinity Tower logo now? It's his picture. So if it was Herbert Wigwe, why not Herbert Wigwe? What Abba did was he loaned them, he borrowed them money.
How much did Herbert borrow them, mommy?
For me, I cannot, even if I know, I cannot disclose.
Okay.
But whatever amount he borrowed them, maybe for a period of 10 years, and sending out of RCCG City of David is not even up to 4 years. 10 years has not lapsed. The reason why my daddy sent Pastor ID out of RCCG is only known to him and to God. You understand? Because Pastor Idowu Iluyomade did a lot for our daddy.
So that is the point of this conversation. So she said that saying that Iluyomade did not build, his son did not build the church, that is Pastor Adeboye's picture that is there. Pastor Adeboye is the one that is the general overseer of that particular ministry the last time I checked. You understand? It's not as if like you have in the maybe the US, like the one in Baltimore that had to, separate from the church as well to be independent and see using the structures because of the story. Then I will talk about that later. Some churches, whether you like it or not, there are stories allegedly that some of the churches of the RCCG is more like a franchise, whereby the name of a church is being used, but when it comes to the structure and everything, it's not a property of a church, but the name is used as what brings attention to the church, or would I say the ministry that is recognized for the pastors themselves to do their work. I don't know if you understand. So at the point of saying that it was not Iluyomade that built the church, it doesn't matter. If you are serving the church, you are just a tool, an asset of the church, of course, that is being, pushing the vision of the general overseer. Doesn't mean that you are really, really that significant. Even though, listen, I'm not trying to say he's not significant. But the fact is that just like they have in the church, at the age of 70, you should retire. Isn't that so? But Pastor Adeboye doesn't have to retire. His own is till he drops. Whenever that happens, we don't know. But the point I'm trying to say here is that even you as a pastor know that in the ministry, you serve to a particular point and then you would have to retire. And I talked about this, of course, at the beginning of this whole trend when the whole party thing started. I was like, if they have a rule in the Redeem that every 4 years or every 5 years, a pastor has to be posted. How long has the way Iluyomade been in that particular branch that they have not been posted elsewhere? Is that according to how things should go in the organogram of the ministry? And what if we think about it this way? What if the treatment that the leadership of the church does, of course, to Pastor Adeboye and how, City of David is number one and everything, raises eyeballs as well? Because if you are doing like that, of course, and then taking care of him, providing this, all of that, don't you think that even the council of elders or the church board, because it's not as if Pastor Adeboye makes decision himself like that autocratically. There's actually a board, a governing council, they call them, that also look at these particular issues. What if all of those things were just a lifeline that still kept him there that long, when others are normally being changed or posted from here to here after a couple of years? I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense to you. What if this whole thing that happened with the CG Iluyomade's birthday was just an opening? Because remember, the story that came out was that even at the time that he was suspended, the church record had to now be audited or something. You understand? As if that wasn't done before. That was in the news. I'm not the one making these things up. Okay, I read the news. Okay, now when she talks about the whole idea of that she doesn't know what made him, be banned from the church or something with respect to her issue with Pastor Adeboye. On the People's Gazette, please go and check it as well. It says there that when the whole thing happened about the whole birthday thing, the Pastor Adeboye called Idowu Iluyomade himself, and then when talking about suspending him, he was, would I say, threatened in a way that if he gets to do so, that he's going to expose some things about the church and all that. I couldn't believe that Idowu Iluyomade could do that, but please go and confirm what I'm saying. I can put an image of that particular article for you to see. Okay, even the person that wrote the article is a bit questionable, of course, with respect to his person, but again, you get the point of what I'm saying. This is like a backdoor thing that is said to be an issue, which after that call, Pastor Adeboye did not, excommunicate him or something, but put him under suspicion. Was that an issue that happened between them? I don't know. But if that kind of issue maybe happened, I think it would be something that can maybe warrant, if there is actually a true story to the fact that he has been banned, or would I say no one should talk to him, no one should relate with him, there will be an inner caucus reason for that. It's not just going to be because of that birthday alone, and then that is just why they just have to say nobody should talk to him. It's not as severe as someone who was excommunicated for, wanting to sleep, or would I say caught in action of wanting to, mpiasurai somebody's daughter. Are you getting the point now? But let's go on.
Okay.
He did a lot for Daddy Adeboye. He did a lot.
Mommy, I want us to talk about this.
So Idowu Iluyomade and the Shiju Iluyomade, they were going to Ebutebeta to serve the punishment. And some of us, by that time I came back, some of us went with them to serve the punishment. What's the punishment? We just report there every Sunday, and then we do the service there, and we normally leave the place.
So who was heading City of David in the interim?
When he was sent on suspension, governing council, before he was sent on suspension, they said governing council came from Daddy Gio that to announce to us in the church what happened to our brother and his family and the body. And because of that, our pastor ID has to be placed on 3 months suspension. And is there any question? Some of us asked some questions, but they didn't answer the question. So we said, it's okay. Let him go and serve the punishment. We're all waiting for what is going to happen after 3 months, thinking that he has served the punishment, then he will come back to continue his job. But 3 months finished though. The next thing we heard was that a letter was written to Pastor Idowu Iluyomade while they were posting other pastors about. The letter was written to him that he must not enter City of David at all. Okay? So during the time that he was on suspension, they installed Pastor Pandi to also come there for 3 months. So Pastor Pandi was the one that was pastoring us for those 3 months. When Pastor Idowu, even Pastor Pandi used to announce that his stay here is for 3 months. Do you understand? And at exactly 3 months, Pastor Pandi left too. I don't know how he did that. But that after 3 months, instead of Pastor Idowu Iluyomade to be brought back, what we saw was Pastor Kayode Piton. So we're now like, so where is Pastor Idowu Iluyomade? They said maybe they will post him to other parish. It's okay. If they said that is the policy of Redeem.
Okay, so if they're saying now that after his suspension, he was just told, don't enter the Redeemed Christian Church of God, or don't enter the City of David, just like that, then I think they could have told him that long time instead of allowing him to serve the suspension, and then while others are being posted, he was given a letter not to enter the Redeemed Christian Church of God, the City of David anymore. That's different. Is a letter saying that his position in Redeemed Christian Church of God, City of David is terminated, because that could be something that is interpreted to be that don't enter here again. Maybe the letter said that's why these are things that if you want to bring this thing in the court of public opinion, social media, you have to state the facts, of course, clearly. Was it that he was terminated from being a pastor there and maybe posted somewhere else? Maybe the issue was that, in my opinion, if I have to think about it clearly, don't pastor this particular branch anymore or City of David anymore, and maybe just wait till they have to post you to somewhere else. Do you understand? But she goes on, of course, to speak again.
Okay, he has done King's Court before. He has done Trinity Tower now. You could do it in anywhere, any other place. So we are waiting for his posting. And the next thing we now read is that they said you should not enter City of David.
No way.
Where did they read this thing? Where did you people read this thing? You read it where? You read it where?
Again,
is this confirmed, Mommy,
yes,
or this is just the...
Yes.
So, Pastor...
Confirmed where? We need to know, because I'm interested.
Idowu Iluyomade, who literally built the City of David and the Trinity Towers, was banned from entering it?
Yes.
The vision was given to us by God. I had a vision in 1995 concerning the great things God is going to do in our lives. And that inspired us, once God has backed something, it has to come to pass.
It's awesome. It's something that is just mind-blowing when you really look at what has come out from just a vision. And the vision really is to be able to spread the gospel of Jesus Christ right across all the world, and to do the very things which he has mandated us to do, to help the sick, to feed the hungry, to clothe the poor.
With the successful launch of the multifunctional facility, Trinity Tower gives room for worship and recreational activities for users and parishioners.
Yes.
And this is confirmed.
After he served the suspension. So what I'm reading online that he rebelled, he did not rebel. He served the punishment, but he was told not to enter City of David. But why they...
I think he should be the one speaking for himself. What do you think? I think it should either be him or the... Now, I know she's part of the handmaidens group of CG Iluyomade. I mean, I'm talking about this. Just this. This is two of them. I don't have anything against pancake. Just so you know. Just that, you know, it's indeed a mother church. They are queening and kinging and queening. Yeah, so she's actually an integral member of a church. It would be more believable, of course, if you know, they are being the one head saying this. But indeed, when she says she read, maybe she saw a letter coming as an internal memo banning him from entering the church. That would be cruel to do so. As in, even for him to attend the church as maybe a member. Now, Idowu himself wouldn't want to be a regular member in the church. Do you understand? He would want to be a leader. He would want to be the pastor he is. Now, if you were a pastor and the church suddenly says, okay, we don't want you again to be our pastor or something, we don't want you to be on our pulpit again, there has to be a reason why, at least after having served that long, what would make you to be rusticated that in that manner? Okay, like I said as well, this particular offense, even though it comes against the image of the church categorically, I wanted to even ask, is your dating website still working? Because I think some years ago, the church was trending for have created a Connect Now dating website to help singles and all that, you know. I don't know if it's still working. Please, someone can tell me in the comment. When it comes to church story and church history, forget. Wait, yes, they follow church like how people they watch news. So I know what's up. Please tell me in the comment about that. I need to know. Maybe I need to go there and start looking for my missing ribble. You understand? Yeah? Let's go on.
They did that. It's only known to our daddy, governing council, and God. I cannot answer why. But we were curious. So what do? We started writing letter. We wrote letter of appeal to daddy that please don't do this. This is our pastor. Remember remember the works of his hands that he has done, even for you, for us, for the Church of Christ, for the Redeemed Christian Church. We started quoting all these things that Pastor Iluyomade has done. We wrote, we signed our names. We sent to our daddy. We didn't get any response from him. So what happened was that the Iluyomades now started going to other redeemed parishes. The first place they went back to was where they were coming from, King's Court. And the King's Court parish pastor welcomed them that this is our father and our mother who actually started this place. And they were even doing their anniversary, only to be told later, the pastor that welcomed them, that they must not be welcomed there again. So they left the place, they went to
Mommy, is this confirmed or are these speculations?
It's not speculation.
If this is true, then it's indeed another form of witchcraft, I would say. If this is true, every church has an open arms for anyone to come in. I know you, I don't know you. You come in, of course, but it's not as if him going there is that he's going to go and take over from there, no. Just for him to fellowship with them. So if the church could excommunicate you to the point of you shouldn't fellowship with them, what's the point of even doing altar call every time? I choose not to believe this. But if you want to go into church politics, it is deep. And it is possible that that can happen. Now, it's okay that the pastors can be told, don't welcome him. Doesn't mean that he cannot go there. Where it will become a drama is that he walks into the church to be part of the fellowship, and then people are there to kick him out and tell him, don't come in here. Then that will be a different thing entirely. Do you understand? But without evidence like this, who would just believe that? This will look as if it's just a way to drag Pastor Adeboye. Because whether you like it or not, when something happens in a ministry, like we looked at, of course, Pastor Mensa will talk about the charismatic circle. It's always the image of the general overseer, the brand. even though sometimes things may be happening that he may not be aware, or maybe the governing council are the one that is also doing this witch hunting or something, if I'm to put it that way. In the end, it comes down to the image of the general overseer because he is the face of the ministry. Do you understand?
It's not fair because when we wrote letter to our daddy of appeal to even post him anywhere, you understand, and we didn't get a response, and that he should not enter City of David. I am a believer, as daddy taught us, you understand. He taught us, that the Adeboye taught us, that 99, if you are rearing 100 cattle, one of them gets lost. You have to leave the 99 and go after the soul of the one that got lost and bring him back to the fold. And when you bring him back, you rejoice. So me, I was after the lost soul of Pastor Idowu Iluyomade. Will we now leave him to go back to the world after 32 years that he has worked all his life for daddy and for God? Will he not be discouraged? So for me and my family, we went after his soul to bring him back to the kingdom.
So that means the family fellowship you people have is a community of lost people. Check. The way I'm even interpreting this, please, someone should help me. That means all of you are lost. Like, he's a lost soul. George, I cannot be interpreting this like this. I'm just trying to follow the logic of our reasoning when it comes to the scripture, okay? But for him to go out and start his own ministry, what if the goal of a church is that, looking at the gravity of that offense, doing party, quote and unquote, insensitive, flavor na bania, ada diorama, the whole event at the hotel and all of that, would that be something that is expected of a church leader? That's also something to really look at. So maybe they just see that with this whole situation, he's not fit. In fact, he shouldn't be there, of course, as a church leader or something, because for her to say that they were begging for him to be posted, even if it's to somewhere else. Now, for someone in his own cadre, if they are to post him, they are not going to post him to just anywhere, because tomorrow, if they post him to maybe a small church for him to go and start from scratch, still being under the ministry, tomorrow you might be seeing that there will also be another story that, they demoted him or something. Because for him to have been there for that number of years, of course, there's a level he is on in the ministry. He shouldn't be there answering sir to someone that is a younger person, or would I say attached to maybe a parish that is, I don't know if you understand. So at that his level, maybe the only option is either take him to somewhere higher or the same level, of which probably there is no other place where he can fit in, or just relegate him to being a floor member. I am saying I don't know you see, it's different. If I'm looking at, let's say, Winners Chapel, I can look at their modus operandi, look at their mandate and know, okay, this is justified. But for RCCG, it's a little bit enclosed, so you don't know. That's why she is confused. But maybe Pastor Idowu himself would know. So when she talks about that letter, what they read, I don't know, because what she's saying they read is not on the internet. So probably it's a letter that he received indeed. Might be true. I'm not saying it's true till I see the facts.
Do you understand? That's the only thing. My last born is 35 years old now, and I joined Redeem when he was only 3. So you can know that I've been in Redeem since 32 years ago.
Wow.
So that is how far I've been there. So there's no other place I can bring a lost soul to other than to Redeem. And I know how many people, I can't even count them, God has used me and my family to bring to the Redeemed Christian Church of God anywhere. Even my husband, my family were church planters, as in myself, my children, their spouses, we normally put money together to build redeemed parishes for as satellites. We built one in my village. It's now a province parish.
So the thing is that, yeah, she's part of the old Apapa family, now the favored family. When I look at her, she's still turning between loyalty to the church, her daddy, or loyalty to Idowu and his church. Except this whole podcast is just for a way to drag Pastor Adeboye. But, there have been many schisms in that church, and the church is still standing. Because whether you like it or not, I ask you this question: who would you follow? The one that happened with Tunde Bakari, the church reduced to, even Pastor Adeboye saying 15. I think what I read then was 18. members when Tunde Bakari left. Do you understand? And these things happen, of course. So probably she's still one leg in, one leg out. She might be surprised that people that followed Pastor Idowu might go back as well to City of David. Or maybe some people that are there in City of David might look at this podcast and then follow Idowu to wherever he's going to. But now, of course, Pastor Idowu is starting again. And I wasn't surprised when he had a meeting with the Adetola, who came from the US, of course, to be part of his program, because both of them share in the same, situation or something like that, Okay, let's go on.
We built one in Abuja, Redeem. We are mission planters. That's our calling. And it's not that we plant it to start going back there and say, bring your tithe, bring your... We plant and we move on. And you cannot...
Wow.
He was an Anglican by where he was coming from. His father was a reverend, and he has lost 32 years in Anglican. If he goes back to Anglican, where is he going to start from? Sure, you understand?
The way they talk about this pastors thing, the way they talk about is like, where is he going to start from? Like, what is the mindset of running a ministry if it's not this whole sense of just like how a business is run? You get, like, we run it, I am working here and then probably I should get settlement. Just imagine how the Igbo entrepreneurs do. You serve me, after a particular number of years, you are settled to start your own, something like that. Now, before you join the church, you are serving as a pastor. Doesn't mean you will serve there forever. Even when you get to a particular age, you are going to be retired. So, yes, of course, maybe the idea of pastors who are under a ministry is that I'm here forever till I die, even though I'm serving under the vision of someone else. It's not as if you can go to a ministry and be preaching what they are not preaching, or what is not something that is their core value as a... When once you start having your own message or your own vision or fufu that you want to see, you have to go your way before you start causing katakata where you have found yourself and where you have, aligned yourself to the system. So when I keep hearing this whole idea of where do I start from again or something, if God himself called you into ministry, not the pastor calling you, because many pastors are called by the GOs to join. Like when I read the story about someone actually did a dissertation on RCCG as a doctorate dissertation. So I read this document to see what I'm talking about. As at the first starting of the model parishes, most of them did not really have like Bible school training official. Like you heard Pastor Iyadebe, of course, talked about it. He would just tell this one, of course, he needs someone here, and then someone volunteers. Okay, I'm going to be here as a pastor when they went to Israel or something. And so many other pastors, even though they come from their professional backgrounds, of course, but they will talk about the pastors that left clearly. So we look at each of them specifically and stories or issues around their person in a different video, of course, not this one. So talking about Pastor Idowu, of course, him being rusticated, if he was rusticated or if he didn't live on his own, as to where would he start from? Maybe it will make sense if it's more like something you have signed up for a lifetime. But even Idowu himself being there should know that even him getting to a particular point, of course, he would have to be retired from the ministry. Yes.
So they were like dumbfounded. They were like, they sat at home. Nobody to go to.
That means the goal is that he just has to be a leader, So when someone is in a church as a pastor, it's a job. Full time, of course, you are being paid, of course. So it makes sense that he's there not just as serving as a pastor, but it's also, that is his job. That is his primary assignment. That is where he earns his income from, which makes sense. Those who are like part-time, they don't get to be paid according to what I read in some documents. But those who are full-time, they get to earn a salary. You get, so it's just more like he lost his employment. So saying where is he going to start from makes sense in that regard, because we're not nowhere else to earn money. So what is the best thing that he would do is to start his own church. Sometimes as well, when I look at the whole conversation about churches should build factories when they're supposed to be building when the churches should spend money in building factories instead of building more churches. You have to understand as well that if someone is serving as a pastor or is a church owner, their communication of growth and development is establishing more churches. Okay, is the government indeed, of course, that should be held accountable when it comes to this whole idea of building more factories. Because I start to think about it for a moment. If let's say I'm a barber, my expansion as a barber would be for me to create more barbing salons, right? If maybe like let's say I get to create content on YouTube, what have you seen me done? I have a second channel, of course, where I get to do the same thing and post videos on a different topic. So the same thing applies with churches. When a church is expanding, they will not expand by doing something else or into another venture. They will expand by building more churches. Except maybe the person that is maybe the pastor or general overseer is now doing his own personal thing, running his own business. Then they can multiply that as well. So when you look at also the government as well, government are the one with the responsibility of all of this. So what should the government do? They should also be the one providing the avenue, or would I say providing the industries for the people, of course, to be gainfully employed or something. So it makes sense that even him being banned from the church, if I'm to follow her narrative, that he leaves to go and do what? To go and start another church, because that is what he knows. He doesn't know any other thing else outside running a church. So it makes sense about what she's saying.
Even the people that they were helping abandoned them. I can tell you, I can confirm this, but my father, my daddy Adeboye, taught me, he taught all of us. So me, I took his preaching that if you lose a soul, you must go and look for this, and that's what the Bible says. Look for that soul and bring him back to the kingdom.
To the fold.
That was what I went. I had to go on assignment for Daddy Adeboye and his dad and his daddy, our God.
Okay, so he went. Adeboye did not send you. Now you go on your own to go on that assignment for Adeboye and his God to go and look for the lost soul. So that lost soul that you are going to go and look for, are you part of that lost soul, or you are exonerating yourself in case tomorrow you come back to your fold, your daddy? Because now I say no send you this work where you send yourself because of his preaching. Wonderful. Oh, I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. I'm now wondering, like, this situation now, because now that you are talking about him, I'm looking the news now, the way that it's as if he's being dragged. At least if there is evidence, of course, of the banning, it will even make more sense. But I'm not saying I don't believe you, mommy. Oh, I believe you. At least you are talking. I have to believe you as the fact, but I'm not really convinced, because I just say it to be something really, really impossible. I would say to just ban someone from even attending any of the churches of the RCCG, which you have made public now, okay? And it also becomes a justification as to why he indeed, of course, should have his own church, since RCCG has said, don't come again. You get? But let's go on.
Do you understand? So when I went to Pastor ID, I was expecting to meet a lot of people so that all of us would be like, sorry, where else do we go? Nobody was there. Nobody.
I caught a glimpse, if I could use that, of Pastor Adeboye preaching yesterday, and he said something about those who left with Iluyomade, and he called them, I don't know, I can't be 100%, and I don't want to. He allegedly called them some names and didn't seem to be very happy with them.
Yeah, I think I heard that those who left City of David, he didn't mention those who left with Iluyomade because it's my daddy. He said those who left City of David or left Redeem, they are demons.
Now I don't see that. When Daddy Free said this, I was like, where would he say it? So I went on churches. I sat down to watch the entire video of the second visit. I didn't see that particular notion of anyone being demon who left the church or something. So I don't know where this whole those who left City of David are demons. I don't know where that is coming from. Please, there's no evidence of this whole demons. I need to see that video. Please, if you know where the video is, please tell me, because I watched the entire video. I didn't hear him talk about people who left being demons. So, madam, where is this particular story coming from?
Oh, wow.
Do you understand? And meanwhile, the place that they have paid for, that Trinity Tower, was built by, they are in darkness, was built by the supposedly demons. Do you understand? That's the one that actually made me like almost cry yesterday. Abi, how can my daddy talk like that? Do you understand? That they were like, and even my mommy, our mother, Mommy Gio, they are demons. Darkness and light cannot live together. Meanwhile, that they have paid the loan of the Trinity Tower, and it is now their own. Okay, demons built Trinity Tower. Our daddy should come there and cast out the demons. Do you understand? But he didn't cast them out. And so I now started wondering that, is this my daddy that is talking? Or is it Daddy Adeboye that, what is going on?
Let me go back to that video again and maybe start from the beginning. Let me go on to listen to her. Daddy Freeze, I don't know where you heard what you said you heard Pastor E. Adeboye said, or is it something that she briefed you before you people sat down to record the interview? I hate lies. I had to even go back now and watch that video again. Imagine spending 1 hour watching that video again to hear him talk about demons, because that was not even in the subject. So if you said you heard him say that, I think I need the fact of that, and people need that particular explanation, because if this woman is coming to say something that she didn't hear from E. Adeboye's mouth and is not a fact anywhere, then this would be Jezebel. I'm not joking. If what she's saying is not true and she's saying that he said that. Are you getting the point now? Because Iluyomade did not cook it. I don't like I don't know. I don't like to go back and forth. I don't like to. Where are you getting that one from? This is now looking like a plot. That's failed in advance.
Is anybody tuning there? I don't know.
Let me ask you, Ma. Did when Pastor ID left City of David, did you live with him?
I did not leave City of David with him. I was in City of David trying to do the mediation, looking for who to beg, you understand? I wasn't even that close to Pastor ID. I was just his parishioner. Do you understand? So how could I have now decided to now say, because it's going on? We don't even do that in City of David. When Pastor Esco, all of us stayed waiting for the next pastor. So that was what we did. I didn't plan to go with him. But when I saw that there was no prayer, I'm in the prayer department. There was no prayer that was even brought up to even pray for his soul. Have mercy on his soul. They said he has sinned. Let us pray that, let God have mercy on his soul. Let us go and pray with him. We are not even going to pray for his restoration. Let us go and hold hand and then encourage him and pray. You understand? Our daddy said, you have sinned, you did party, you danced, or whatever.
The way that he reads kept his face like this throughout. This face is very. I'm liking this conversation. You know, in Ghana we call this kokosa. Oh, Chineke God. Lord. I'm talking about senior citizens conversation. These people, they will finish me in the comment. They will flog me woto. But it's just observation that if there's no vex if you are seeing this video.
All of us stayed waiting for the next pastor. So that was what we did. I didn't plan to go with him. But when I saw that there was no prayer, I'm in the prayer department. There was no prayer that was even brought up to even pray for his soul. Have mercy on his soul. They said he has sinned. Let us pray that, let God have mercy on his soul. Let us go and pray with him. We are not even going to pray for his restoration. Let us go and hold hand and then encourage him and pray. You understand? Our daddy said, you have sinned, you did party, you danced, or whatever. If daddy has considered his daddy in heaven and him, they considered it a sin. Who am I to say no? So let's pray for him. Let God have mercy on his soul. Nobody did that. I asked all the pastors, they didn't do that. You understand? I'm like, oh my God. So me and my family now, like, we have to go and look for Pastor ID. We did not even know where he was. But by asking, we found him, and then we went to go and serve the punishment with him. We prayed with him. I said, don't worry, daddy that is doing this, he will sort it out. After the 3 months, I was hoping. That was what I waited for. That was what that was what now baffled me, that how did they get to where they are? My daddy Adeboye, Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, that is his son, because he will tell us, daddy said we should do this and we will obey. And Pastor Shiju, Iluyomade, that is Mommy Gio's daughter. Oh. How did they get to this separation?
Is she not also Daddy Gio's daughter too? Like you are saying, the son for the father, the mother for. Is that is not how family is? All they are still under the same scheme. So she's not for mommy and daddy is for daddy. They are both under daddy. You understand? Some time ago we discussed about this thing about that the pastor is called doesn't mean that the wife is automatically. Let me not go there before we start fighting in the comments. We'll talk about it a little later. I'll bring it back again. That conversation.
It's what we don't know. That forgiveness cannot solve.
So what do you want now? Let Daddy Freeze ask that question.
He shook his hand. He collapsed. But thank God. God woke him up. A lot of people started. Oh yes. They now said the Trinity Tower is so many things that forgiveness cannot solve. How did they get there? That forgiveness cannot solve this thing.
Me and Daddy Freeze.
And a lot of things when Pastor Pandi was pastoring us. So many things happened in the city of David that has never happened before. Which one will I mention? One man collapsed inside church in the presence after he shook his hand. He collapsed, but thank God, God woke him up. A lot of people started. Oh yes, they now said the Trinity Tower is so many things that in fact, we never even thought of. Àwọn kan sìn Ọlọ́run bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Ká worship God, ká fi owó wa sìn Ọlọ́run, ká fi ṣe nǹkan fún humanity, and we never thought of these other things that they were bringing into all these demons, something.
Where is this? I need to see where this conversation is coming from. This whole demon thingy. Why? Talking about a lot of people are dying, people are collapsing. Is this a bad PR for that ministry since you are no more technically there or something? Where are you, madam? Are you in RCCG City of David, or you're with Pastor Idowu, or you believe that Pastor Idowu coming back there would restore? Or now that at least that the boy has gone there, he has laid hand, he has prayed, he has changed name, he did rebranding. Things should be different, isn't it so? But this one you are talking about, people are dying. That means people should be running away from there. Is that the idea? I'm trying to understand.
That the Adeboye did not even mention anything about demon to us, even in camp. All you will pray is you'll be stronger than your enemy. Do you understand? You'll be stronger than your enemy. So all this demon thing that I'm now hearing, maybe it's a new trend of this thing. I don't know.
You hear from where?
We didn't go to. It didn't teach us about demonology.
Me too. I would do. Someone should help. If you know where this demon thing that Pastor Adeboye said about those who left City of David, this thing, link it. Not any another video that is being used in that context, because I have combed, but I cannot comb out anything. I watched the entire video from beginning to the end. I couldn't hear him talking about demons, those who left are demons or something. You get the point now? Let's go on.
So many things of Daddy Freeze. So many of this that you should be clapping in the office of so many things. So many clapping. We started hearing, not even hearing, seeing things.
Like what?
Oríṣiríṣi mi tí ẹ lè sọ.
Perceiving
odors of kéèyàn máa fi tùràrí even inside the pastor's office. Tí ó ṣẹlẹ̀.
I think, is this one gaslighting for the pastor that is there now? Because Iluyomade is your concern, but you were still there for your daddy, and now you are talking about what has been happening there since you have been there. Are you still there? Because after making this video, I don't think you will still go back there. Anyway, you are being in cahoot with Madam Siju, so I am not surprised that, because now this what you are saying now already, you like this, it's okay that maybe they can they can tell you don't come. After you went to Daddy Freeze, Daddy Freeze that they see to be Antichrist, me they see me to be Antichrist, rest of 100. So, but that you go to Daddy Freeze platform again is like, Daddy Freeze? I don't have anything against Daddy Freeze as a person, but I'm just wondering. You see, when things start happening like this in your circles, it now becomes us now, or maybe let me say someone like me. Though stories where I don't hear like this, I'm like, But last time you were the one calling me Antichrist, son of Satan. Is it the Satan that you are reporting to now? Alpha, wait apple. You get that kind of thing. But based on the facts, I need to. This is just sentimental to me. What I'm seeing here, but again, she knows the story too well. What I'm seeing is I hope I'm not saying this to be as a propaganda. You can be daddying me and still in the way gaslighting me, or because now of course this is affecting the image of the church, whether you like it or not. Just like how people talk about MFM and their pastors doing some kind of like diabolic things. I've seen those stories. Which one is true, I don't know, but some of you know those things. Now of course, talking about this as well with RCCG, so Iluyomade not being there is causing katakata, and I saw those number of people over there. Interesting.
Oríṣiríṣi. When no one any grudge against ourselves before, we were like one family and we were plenty. Nobody had any grudges against anybody. Yes, some people was complaining about Pastor Shiju's this. I don't know, Mama. We're not that
close.
We're not until God sent us on assignment to go and search for and bring him to the fold. But when we preached to him, we prayed with him, okay, let's go back to church. That's when he now told us, you can't go back there. Why? This is what daddy, and the man was crying. This is what my daddy told me.
So Pastor
Idowu
was crying.
This is what
as in tears, in real
yes,
tears.
This is what my daddy said.
Wow.
Daddy said, I can't enter City of David. I tried to do this, and some people in his neighborhood that knew that he was a pastor, they were now coming to him that he should continue to pray for them. So where would he take them to? Where would he take them to? So we now have to now say, okay, for these people, we were the people that told him, since you can't go back to redeem, Abishe Maniko Losi first Kwani, I don't even know which church will I now say you should go. Okay, gather yourselves in your city.
If Nigeria was like, over in the US and UK and all, like people literally apply for jobs to be pastors. Like churches put out job opening as well. If you want to pastor a church, you go and apply with your. But that's not how it is in Nigeria, I think so. Because when she's talking about would he go to here, would he go to here? Yes, he has an Anglican background, but was he known as Anglican as a pastor or something? So the idea is that for him to still perform his duty as a quote-unquote pastor, that, it's one thing, like I said, God calling you and then the ministry calling you or something. Let's go on.
And start clapping and start worshiping God with these people and even your staff in the house. On Sunday, you can worship in your house. Sometimes when I don't want to go, when I'm not able to go to church, I stand by my altar and I do my worship.
So what does she want now?
Yeah,
my daddy.
If you had his order.
He didn't plan to start a church. He didn't he didn't know anything. We now told him, we didn't say start a church. We said worship your God in your house.
Okay, mommy.
So now you people cannot go back to the City of David again because you are loyal to him, or he's the lost soul. And why you cannot go back to City of David is because of the Rishi and somebody collapsed and this and this. Is that an excuse or something, or is that a PR for what is happening there? I don't know what the idea is, because in this case now they might be calling you demons, of course, for this whole narrative, which I don't know if it is true or not. That is what you're saying, but I will take what you are saying to be your fact, even though I can kind of deduce the motivation for this whole conversation right now.
If you had the opportunity of having the general overseer of RCCG, Pastor Idowu,
my daddy.
If you had his
the way she just leads up, my daddy. You have to choose one, because that daddy is not like, I think maybe Pastor Idowu, of course, will still call him daddy, at least, even though they're not. But anyway, it's okay. Come on, when it comes to the Pentecostal circle, some of you I've seen some of you insult me when I talk about this one, insult me when I now wonder, this one, where you did? But again, if you look at that thing, I always tell you, relevance by association. So whoever is under your daddy or is a friend with your daddy is also automatically in your spiritual tribe. So I understand. Let's go on.
Audience. Let's, maybe if this video goes out and he sees it and says, okay, you know what, come to my office, and what do you want to ask him for?
I will ask him to forgive Pastor Idowu Iluyomade for whatever it is. I don't even want to know what transpired between them. But for the good works that Pastor Idowu Iluyomade has done for him, with him, and with other people, through him, for God, my daddy should forgive him.
Okay.
He has told him to go. Probably he has gone. Let him be. You understand? All this, he should just clear the air. What I was even expecting to hear my daddy say when he came to City of David yesterday is that, oh, your former pastor is not coming back here again. All this edifice we have met here, he built it.
But what did he say? He didn't even get to mention, or so I don't know. Maybe there was a part that has been cut out from that video. I don't know. I will still do a double check after this recording to be sure, because he didn't even get to like mention him, like talk about him per se in that regard. Clear the air because there's a rift between them, which is not a public brouhaha. What else as well? Let him be. Is he holding on to him? Is he witch hunting him? Now that happens in some churches. When you leave, they follow you everywhere. They come and even come and tell members not to follow you. It happens. We'll look at it when we look at pastors who have left, because some of them have talked about things like that. But again, what is really the issue here? Because I didn't see him to be a focal point of attention then when Pastor Adeboye came, except maybe now she's trying to say that he should have said that he built the place or give him that credit or something. But again, 48 laws of power, you should never try to outshine your master. Your master should be the one to recognize you, not you demanding that attention, that kind of thing. And there's a way, of course, how masters themselves get to put their subjects under their control with some psychological principles of praising them, of course. There's some, probably you understand that, but he wasn't a focal point at that time. Let's go on.
Give him some credit. Give him some credit. Whether it's on loan or it's nobody's this thing. Give him some credit. Thank him for the things he has done. But what I will tell you, my children, is this work must continue and even be more than this. Oh, I will clap. Do you understand? So if I have opportunity of talking to him, I'll still need, he's my father. I'll still kneel down for him and say, Daddy, please forgive Pastor Idowu Iluyomade and let him be. He will now decide what he wants to do with him. Because I don't know for how long that thing can last. They are very close, so. They are very, very close. All this go like this, go. Only the two of them understand. They are like father and son. So I still believe Daddy can work out something with him. But you should forgive him. That forgiveness that he taught us, I want it in action. Then I will know that my daddy that led me to Christ is still my daddy in Christ.
So okay. So how you? Oh, now I get it. I beg you. If you know how to reach daddy, if he has unforgiveness in his heart for the son, who he also banned for whatever reason, according to what they're saying or what she's saying, okay, so that this one now will not become lost soul, because now she don't go follow lost soul, become lost soul community. So before you have many lost soul community, I beg you, this is not me being sentimental. I'm trying to really understand her, because this is one thing that can say if she still calls you daddy or not, because she feels you're having unforgiveness. And for her to be feeling this way will be also the information that Iluyomade is releasing. Is it accurate or not? Because they respect Idowu Iluyomade. Are you getting the point now? Let's go on.
Thank you very much, Mommy, for your time. And
let's go on as well to look at the women in the handmaiden. So let me just play her video, of course, when I think they meet in her office for events. Let's listen to this.
To make heaven. So please, you are welcome to join us every Wednesday and share from all the grace that for us.
Okay, and then this is one video that has been trending of what Siju herself said. Let's listen to her.
was not given to us by any man. This was given to myself and my husband by the Almighty God. This vision was from King's Court. Building exceedingly magnificent, full of fame and glory throughout the world. The Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as he then was, Oshibadi, said, whenever the history of Christianity will be told, they will point and they will sing. Iluyomade.
Iluyomade built this to the glory of God. Why would you want your name to be the focal point of attention when you are sold out to God? I think I've said this here many times on this platform. For you to really understand Jesus and his person, you have to understand what it means to be nothing. You don't even need the credit. You would want to walk the streets and no one even know that you are the reason why this is happening. We looked at it last time. I think Mensa Otabel put it very clear. You don't even seek that name, that recognition. But here you are. Anyway, it's one thing you see in the charismatic circle. Image is number one, always.
I must walk the walk of him who sent me while it is day, because the night cometh when no man can walk. Rise to your feet and begin to thank God.
Madam, your birthday na him put us for this akokowa. I don't talk before. Gina Pancake with a good relationship, and she's very wonderfully blessed, you know. I beg you. But you see that it makes sense why they see the Trinity Tower to be their achievement. But if you're watching me and you're a pastor, you're working under any ministry, what is for the church belongs to the church, okay? They will not come and write your name in and say, oh, it's going to be the name of a church that is there. That would have not been constructed if the name of a church was not involved. Thank God, of course, for you using you as a tool for the people themselves to put in their money and everything to construct the church or construct the building. She said it's not a vision given to them by any man, but given to them by God. Doesn't mean that you are going to remain there forever. Probably, I think it makes sense because he has been there as long as since he got there, of course, from King's Court. But it's not your birthright. In the end, it belongs to the church, except it was your own construction and you own the property. But when we talk about other people that had left as well, like the Odutola's issue, it will begin to make a whole lot of sense. But what is even the point of me making this video? When I listened to the woman herself, some things were not really making sense to me, I would say. I think the City of David Church, of course, having this schism itself is quite revealing. Many pastors have left Redeem in the past. Many are still going to live in the future. It happens. It's something that happens. Some are going to go and start up their own without any issue. I think Tony Rapo is a good example. Okay, no issue. Still has a good relationship with Daddy Adeboye. Wonderful. Also, some, of course, which I mentioned, Tolu, you know, Pastor Idowu Iluyomade, of course, can still be in good terms with Pastor Adeboye, except for what the woman herself is saying now, that is like they had longer heads or he's not happy with him. Seriously? What do you think about this situation? For me, I have questions. Whether you like it or not, this is also more like a way of dragging Pastor Adeboye, that he has unforgiveness in his heart. Okay? It's not as if this is a call for CG or the Iluyomades to come back to RCCG. No, he's already started his ministry. He's inviting Frank Edwards. People are coming in to minister. He's running the ministry as his. So what is really the point? And madam, if you have left RCCG to be with him or be with him in his man, focus there. Don't worry. But if you are still torn between the RCCG brand you have been part of all your life, I know you are thinking, where do I even start from? I've been in this church for 30 years, 40 years, this and this. It makes sense, I understand. But again, Idowu himself has started something new, you know? Indeed, of course, you will say clearly, where would he start from? He has started. Be part of his community as a family. In the end, what is most important is that Christ is preached. Not be so. But one thing is also important. Let there not be any bitterness in Idowu's heart. Pastor Adeboye is a bigger person here. So no matter what happens, you get. But for you, there should be no bitterness in your heart. No resentment, nothing. So far as your conscience is clear, don't worry. One day, fire down. We'll do it. But this whole drama I see on the internet, you shouldn't even be preaching and then talking about Pastor Adeboye on your altar for any reason, of course, or your past ministry or something. No, just focus and do your thing. God is a rewarder. That is one thing that is very. But when that bitterness, of course, is there, you don't want to create rift in the church community over there. Some people that love you and miss you will still come from that City of David and look for you in your small corner, whether you are at Oriental or wherever. maybe when you get to build your structure at Eco Atlantic, you are still within that same community as well. So maybe those people will come to look for you. Maybe this whole thing had to happen for you to charter a different course. Yes, but it shouldn't bring this in as much as when drama is happening, it would be like, oh, there's something to talk about, but it's not as if I like it that much. All the same, it is what it is. Till I see you next time, Jesus is Lord.